Welcome to the Gab Talks by the Independent Press Award. I'm your hostess, Gabby Olzak. To participate in the 2025 Book Award competitions, please visit independentpressaward.com and nycbigbookaward.com. Welcome to today's episode of the Gab Talks. We're so excited to sit down with a writer whose life reads like one of his own stories, full of curiosity, humor, and a relentless pursuit of the written word. David is the author of an eclectic array of more than 24 award-winning books spanning various genres. He's been honored with 46 literary awards since the launch of his imprint, Last Kid Books, in 2019. We will also discuss two other novels, An Apartment in Paris and Benjamin's Mess, sketches, tirades, and spoofs. An Apartment in Paris, your latest book. Can you hold that up for us?
Oh, sure. Right here. Okay.
So, David, that's something we have in common. I lived in Paris when I was in college. I lived in the 5th arrondissement, right on Boulevard Saint-Michel.
Well,
And
our apartment is the same place.
It's Saint-Severin, yeah.
Yeah, yes.
And I almost moved there before I met Ted, believe it or not. That was...
he ruined your future in Paris.
He did, and apparently I ruined his future. So we're even 30 plus years later, so it's okay. So this book, you write, Paris has always been a place where impulse triumphs over reason, where a silly romantic notion can cloud your mind and change you forever. This is why when you see a window in Paris full of real estate ads, you should run for your life. But David, you did not run for your life.
No. Now, bear in mind that this is not a novel. It's nonfiction. It's the story of my wife and I. Let's
tell people what it's about. It chronicles the adventures of you and your wife as you search for the perfect pied-à-terre in Paris, and it's peppered with your discoveries, experiences, literary references. It's really fantastic. The writing is extremely vivid. So tell us how this all got started.
Well, my wife, when I was living in Tokyo with Junko Yoshida is my wife, by the way. She's a technology journalist. And she also does watercolors. She did the cover for An Apartment in Paris.
I was going to ask you about that, as well as did she also do the etchings and the sketchings inside?
Right. Yeah. I took some of her watercolors that I had pictures of, and I tried them out on black and white in my computer darkroom, and they turned out pretty good in black and white. So I used those to illustrate the book.
They're fantastic.
When we were living in Tokyo, Junko had a job, and I was trying to write books. And she had 2 weeks off every year from her job, and so for those 2 weeks we went to Paris. We just stayed in Paris, and we went because she wanted to paint. She wanted to do watercolors. So I wandered around while she was painting. I took pictures. I wrote in my travel diary, which you can segments of that appear obviously in An Apartment in Paris. And as we did that, every year we either stayed in a hotel, or we stayed in an apartment that belonged to some friends of ours. And we really enjoyed the apartment living aspect of that rather than the hotel. And we began to stop at these real estate ads in windows and began to discuss, the possibility of buying a place in Paris. And we started to live by the concept that, wherever you work, you have to have a place to live. But if you're going to buy a place to live, it should be the place where you want to be rather than where you are. And so, that was the philosophy that drove us to start looking for an apartment in Paris. And the thing came together fairly quickly. But the essence of the book is the real estate thing is the backstory. The real story is how a couple of people, one from the United States, one from Japan, assimilate themselves into a life in a strange city, in the most beautiful city in the world, and begin to feel as though, to some extent, we belong.
So it's, the writing is very vivid. And An Apartment in Paris, it has such a strong sense of place. It's almost like Paris is the protagonist in the story. That's what it reads. Um, what are the lessons to be had um, living as an American in a place that, as you just said, is both foreign and familiar at the same time?
Well, I lived in Tokyo for 7 years too, and I think the secret to being an expatriate in a foreign city is not to try to be like the people there. Um, I was always puzzled by Americans who moved to Tokyo and try to out Japanese the Japanese, and the Japanese just end up making fun of them.
Oh, sure.
uh,
As the
yeah.
French do with Americans also.
Oh yeah, right, yeah. But as bad as they are for Americans, French Canadians are just anathema to Parisians. They make so much fun of them because not because they speak this Canadian French that's totally alien to the French
Totally different. Yeah,
sensibility.
completely
Yeah.
different.
Yeah. We one of the secrets that we have when we speak enough French that we can go into a restaurant and order anything. In fact, I can't read an English language menu in Paris anymore because I don't recognize the food. I have to read it in French. But uh,
That's
when
amazing.
you're making contact to anyone who's going to Paris, if you're making contact with a cashier or a rest or a waiter or something, if you speak bad French for a minute or two, the waiter or the cashier or whoever it is will take pity on you and start speaking English to you. But they will give
Yeah.
you a little bit of respect because you at least tried. One of the things I tell people is that really loud English doesn't become French.
Isn't that funny? Isn't that so funny? I've noticed that in every country that I've been to, that Americans, they think when they speak louder in English that they can understand you. It's the strangest thing. So what's the biggest tip, or what's the biggest takeaway from your book, from An Apartment in Paris, your nonfiction book?
Um, it's there are a whole bunch of cliches that people have to see when they go to Paris. And I tell people that if you're going to see a cliche like the Eiffel Tower,
Yeah,
stay at a place that's 2 hours walk away from it, and walk to the Eiffel Tower. And if you don't get there, that's fine because you will find so many things along the way
absolutely.
that amaze you, and you will find so many nice cafes to get drunk at that if you never get to the Eiffel Tower, it doesn't matter. You can always get the postcard.